Hey all, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. After defeating Clayton last time in Deep Jungle, I'm feeling a bit cocky. Today I desire the subjugation of my enemies. I desire victory in an arena of trial of sorts. Basically what I'm saying is we're going to one of the most frequently visited worlds in the entire series. In fact, in a moment, Spot, I'm going to throw over to you, and I want you to regale me with what games this particular world appeared in. But basically what I'm waffling on about is today we're going to be visiting Olympus Coliseum from Hercules.
Yes, Olympus Coliseum shows up in this game, Chain of Memories,
yes.
Kingdom Hearts 2,
yes.
Birth by Sleep,
yes.
Kingdom Hearts 3,
no.
And the theme from it appears in, well, it's close in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, it's Thebes, isn't it?
Well, you go to Olympus itself. I guess the Coliseum is not there, but you go to Olympus itself, and the theme that plays in the first entry area, I think, appears in Kingdom Hearts 3D, despite the world itself not appearing.
That's so weird. But then again, you know, if I was creating a game specifically around dreams and all the kind of crazy things that could happen in them, I probably wouldn't dream about Olympus Coliseum. That's more of an invasive thought than anything. But yeah, Spa's basically right. It turned up in KH1, Chain of Memories. You missed out 2, funnily enough.
I mentioned 2. Did miss out Recoded, though. I realized that afterwards as well.
Which is weird, because that is probably the most unique version of Olympus Coliseum. It's basically set up like a labyrinth of sorts for Sora, Cloud, and Hercules to go through. And the combat is actually turn-based, where you can like make decisions, power up your dudes, buff them with defenses and whatnot, and you attack Heartless in a kind of traditional Final Fantasy sort of way. Again, this is owing to the fact that Recoded was originally episodic in its mobile version in Japan, so they kind of wanted to spice up each episode. Man, I'm glad there was a lot of trivia to talk about, because as Spa pointed out before we started recording, like a quarter of this part is friggin' Gummy ship.
It's not quite a quarter. This is honestly probably one of the longest Gummy sections. Definitely the longest in the first part, in this first little area with Traverse Town and all of these others. Some of the ones later on definitely get longer, but that one's probably the longest in the first half.
This music, I love how they turned this into kind of like a bit in Kingdom Hearts 3. Would that count as like diegetic music or no?
Maybe. I can't recall what you're talking about. It's been so long since I played 3.
I remember when they land and Sora's like, what? No fanfare? Well, I think Donald says that, and then Sora's like...
Oh yeah, that's right, I remember now. Because they showed up in like the wrong spot on the mountain.
Move that pedestal over there for me.
I don't think that's going to happen for a while, Phil. The games! Oh, nostalgia exploding inside of my mind.
It's the line, the one line that pretty much everyone remembers from this game, outside of, you know, the unskippable cutscene stuff that we talked about last time.
Oh, don't forget, it is I, Ansem.
Right, that one too. So here we have not Danny DeVito, unfortunately.
No.
Here we have Robert Costanzo, sometimes misnamed as Robert Costanza, from what I learned earlier.
Huh. Well, I gotta go back and, you know, retroactively edit all the past commentaries and call him by his correct surname.
It is a very common thing that his name is mispronounced, so don't feel bad.
I think he does a great job as Phil. Many of you will probably know him from the Hercules cartoon series, which was excellent, in my opinion. I'm not sure whether it's on Disney Plus as of yet. It's certainly not in the UK, at least.
I will have to check that later. Robert is actually pretty well known as being a voice double for Danny DeVito. He does a lot of replacement stuff, I guess is a good way to put it, whenever they can't get Danny to come back in for stuff like this. Phil, I don't think you're having any more luck than we did, buddy.
There's a certain shot here that I actually used as a thumbnail for our non-commentary channel, Hellfire Playthroughs. And the reason for that is, I guess I was choosing things and it got stuck like that. And because it was such a perfect thing, I've never wanted to change it.
Well, let's see what you can do.
I think it's actually the shot at the end of this part after they finish the games, but I know what you're talking about, and it's good. And I think it was like one of the auto-selected thumbnails for one of the videos, and it got placed as the thumbnail for the channel, and like you said, it got stuck that way.
Alright, got a little minigame here. I guess we've got to prove ourselves by destroying barrels. You know, fuck fighting Cerberus right away. We've got to start our way from the bottom and work our way up.
And we have here the new Keyblade we got last time, the Jungle King, which has a longer reach, which is good for this, and it's a little bit stronger, which doesn't help this at all, because you're not actually doing damage to the barrels, they just need to be hit with a finisher.
Really? Alright, round 2.
The one thing that's going to happen here is I still have Stun Impact equipped. Stun Impact is actually kind of bad because what can happen, as you'll see right here, is that the finisher could sometimes knock the barrels away into other barrels, and Stun Impact does not do that, so it can actually be kind of bad if you get that random chance, though.
Well, at least you looked out there.
And I screwed up right there because it's actually messing this part up quite a bit. Yeah, because I missed that one. Right there is probably one of the hardest ones because you've got to line up those finishers quite a bit. You can also use magic to take these things out if you so desire. Fire works pretty well from a range if you go for that.
Like
Blizzard can probably hit them, but I don't know if it destroys them.
Not.
Why not?
2 words.
Count 'em.
You guys ain't heroes.
That wasn't... Ding! That wasn't 2 words.
I love the bit, though, because, as people probably know, the Greek language, saying that sentence would actually be 2 words. They carried that over from the original Hercules film. I think it comes back in 2. Obviously, it doesn't come back in 3 because Phil has no voice lines in that game, owing to his original Japanese voice actor, Ichiro Nagai, sadly passing away before that game could be finished. And out of respect, they had Phil not speak in the game, which is a pretty traditional Japanese thing to do for voice actors and stuff like that.
A pass?
It's all yours. Good luck, kid. I'm pulling for you, little shorty.
God, I love James Woods. He would basically reprise Hades whenever he was asked. I'm trying to think of like a game in which Hades appears where he didn't voice him, and nothing's really coming to mind.
I think it's one of the roles that he will just absolutely go for no matter what. Doesn't matter what he gets paid, doesn't matter how obscure coming back to the medium that he is. If it's Hades, he's there for it. And I don't blame him.
Okay, I think we're good. We are really and truly heroes now, and we can go beat up people. That's the mark of a real hero, throwing down.
Except it's just heartless. We just got a few rounds to go through. We're getting a few different enemy types now. The Blue Rhapsodies here are Blizzard types and they're weak to fire, which is good. Because hitting them with fire also means we get extra tech points.
Fuck yeah, buddy. Oh, it's always nice to, you know, go out, do your best, and then look into the stands to see a full audience.
For sure.
God, Cloud is just dripping with style right now. Look at that shit.
Owing to the fact that they borrowed quite a lot from Vincent Valentine, who was originally set to be the Olympus Coliseum character from FF7. And I guess the designers, or whoever was in charge, decided that Vincent was a bit too mature, or R-rated, I guess, for Kingdom Hearts, and so they changed it to Cloud. And to, you know, kind of go back to that callback, they gave him some of Vincent's style and design to make up for it.
Interestingly, Zack Fair would appear in Birth by Sleep, but he hasn't resurfaced at all, despite a stinger in the credits of Birth by Sleep, where I assume he gets snatched up by Sephiroth.
It definitely shows a black feather and he sort of disappears, at least from what I was reading a second ago. It's another case where it's been so long since I've seen the actual scene. But yeah, he definitely runs into Sephiroth in some form there.
Who knows, maybe he'll like show up in, what's that fictional place, that fake-ass place? Oh, Quadratum, there we go.
It's entirely possible. Of course, the entire story behind FF7 is not translated directly to this series. Quite a lot of things are different. There's no evidence of Cloud being the way he is. I don't know how much we want to spoil for a 20-plus-year-old game in FF7, but there's no evidence that the things that happened there necessarily happened to the characters in this game. I'll say it like that.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. I was actually rewatching the finale to Crisis Core the other day because someone I follow on YouTube was streaming the end of it, and oh man, the dialogue may be a little bit clunky, but it hits no less powerfully all these years later. I'm a big fan of Crisis Core.
I like Crisis Core a lot. It's one of the 2 games that I ever played on my PSP, the other being Birth by Sleep, and that's kind of all that I really got it for. I actually got a PSP just so I could play those games, and then it got stolen during a house break-in, and I bought another one. And that was actually right before the PS3 collections got announced. Like within a week later, they got announced, and I felt like an idiot.
Jesus, your karma was not with you during that period.
No, it was not.
But you gotta fight that kid.
Hades is one of the most expressive Disney villains ever, so when they give him default face, it feels like a war crime.
Absolutely. I mean, that's just a problem with Kingdom Hearts in general. Hades is just kind of one of the worst offenders, yeah.
It's no big deal, right?
I think, actually, this is the first time Cloud was ever given a voice. Obviously, since there was no voice acting in Final Fantasy VII, that didn't come until later entries in the series. And he is voiced here by Steve Burton, who would reprise him all the way up until and not including the Final Fantasy VII remake. For whatever reason, they decided to go with a different actor for that one.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all, honestly.
It's weird because they kept a lot of the other voices for the remake, I think. So, you know, that's just a weird change. Not that the guy in that game did a bad job. I do like the voice acting that was there. But, you know, it's just not the Cloud that I'm used to, I guess.
Not McLeod. I will boycott this game that's already out. Anyway, in regards to FF7 Remake, I have said we're going to be covering it for the channel. Now, like, the Yuffie DLC is out for PS5 as well, and the PS5 version is already in sets. You can probably look forward to it after the second Sonic-a-thon's done later this year.
That's going to be really cool. I didn't much care for it myself in terms of combat, but I would love to watch an LP of it and see like all the big changes in the story and stuff that they do.
Now, to my shame, I was not able to beat Cloud during the original KH1 playthrough, but Spar is a much better KH player than I am, so I'm interested to see how he does.
I also have the benefit of retakes, because I think I actually had to do one during this tournament, and there was a crossfade back there that I think is actually really subtle.
Interesting. I don't think I started, like, editing the footage until, like, Atlantica, and it was kind of pathetic to think about it, but I advertised it, like, during the commentary as, like, new and improved Kingdom Hearts 1 playthrough.
Oh, wow.
That's right, guys, I'm doing the bare minimum now, new and improved.
So the only thing you actually get out of that fight is just the XP from beating it. You actually get the Sonic Blade ability later on, no matter what.
Oh boy, Cloud's dead, and here's Hades' Popper.
That's a big popper.
Oh, right, there was one other rule. I forgot.
Oh my god, Hades, your mouth was clipping into your neck.
I don't care, I'm a god.
I did not notice that before.
Yeah, there he is! Clap, 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 clap!
Here he comes to save the day, and he's not voiced by his original voice.
No, it's fucking Sam Gamgee.
Yeah, Sam from the Return of the King video game. I don't know, is it the same guy that played him in the movies?
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, behind the voice actors obviously doesn't have live action stuff, so that's my bad for not fully checking up on that. But yes, it is Sean Astin.
There we go, you took the words out of my mouth as I was saying them. I wish you'd stop reaching into my mind/body.
Your mind palace is mine.
Oh no.
I love the way that Cerberus' ears flick up like that when they walk into the arena. That's so... I don't want to call it cute, but you know, doggo, I guess.
Attack!
Okay, here's the plan. We're gonna throw Donald to Cerberus and then attack him from behind.
Actually, we're gonna faff about with the menu because I was trying to do fancy stuff.
I don't mind fancy stuff as long as you get the job done.
Well, I kinda didn't. I think that Cerberus is more weak to thunder than any of the other spells. We did pick up thunder earlier for completing Phil's little, barrel minigame stuff.
Right.
Thunder does more damage than the other two damaging spells that we have, but it also takes a lot more MP, so you gotta be careful with that.
Now, just in regards to optional stuff and whatnot, like the Hades Cup, will we be showing that off?
I will be showing off the Hercules Cup and the cutscenes involving sealing the keyhole here, and then also the Hades Cup and any of the secret bosses that appear in the Coliseum later on as well.
Okay. Funnily enough, it recommends using Aroga here to buff yourself. Oh, but I didn't realize Aroga did damage in addition to boosting your defense.
The first level of Arrow just increases your defense. From Aurora onwards, it starts doing damage, and Aroga, the third level, will actually deflect projectiles. That recommendation is probably for the Cerberus that you fight later on, because I don't think you can actually get arrow magic by now.
I think it's one of these shots right here.
It's coming up here in a minute, the thing you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, just thinking back to my thumbnails here.
It's a good thumbnail, and I actually put it in my selection of stuff for you to use as the thumbnail for this part as a little meme between us.
I've been choosing the silliest one, so thank you for giving me a selection.
Yeah, I decided to pick some funny ones, because I thought that's the shot right there.
Oh, that makes me so nostalgic.
That has been the thumbnail for the Hellfire Playthroughs channel for many, many years, I think.
About as long as HFC itself, really, so... Stroking my beard. They look like heroes.
Well, junior heroes, and yeah, Hercules already pretty much beat Cerberus on his own by the time we jumped in, which is pretty impressive because he was protecting Cloud.
Fair enough, I suppose. You are my favourite friggin' Disney movie. It's just got such a fantastic soundtrack. It looks great. Who cares if, you really should use it to, talk about the Greek myths and it's really inaccurate. I enjoy it, and it led me to discovering the actual Greek myths and researching them, and I love it just as much.
Go along with him anyway?
A lot of the Disney stuff is not accurate to the original myths that they're based on and stories and stuff, so that's not really out of the ordinary.
Whoa, you're telling me that Pocahontas was inaccurate? No wonder it hasn't shown up in Cage yet. Oh my god, look at that chest.
You can see the chest. Yeah, there's a few blue Trinity marks over there that actually knock the chests off of the statues. Normally, you wouldn't be able to see them unless you angle the camera, but I forgot they appear in cutscenes too.
Jesus.
Don't lose sight of it.
This is, like, Cloud's way of giving us the Sonic Blade ability by handing us an item of some kind, I guess. It's the only time that something like that is really shown as handing over something physical, and it's really odd to think about.
Hell yeah. I love using Sonic Blade in Rechain of Memories.
As do most people, because it's really, really good.
Now, this is a very interesting cutscene, because if you somehow manage to... Well, the world's optional, so I don't think you have to come here. But if you manage to, defeat Maleficent later on in the game and then come back here, it will be completely different, and Maleficent will not appear at all.
Yeah, that's another one of those things. Actually pretty smart to think about, because it wouldn't make sense. If Maleficent's gone, how can she show up here?
Yeah, Hades just talking to nobody, really.
In the next games,
I think the scene just kind of ends early, is pretty much what happens, because there's no one for him to banter with at this point.
This is my show.
Okay, well, we'll leave James Woods to be passive-aggressive, a rare sight, I assure you, and we'll see you next time when Kingdom Hearts Final Mix continues. Bye for now, guys.